The podcast industry is entering a new phase of growth and transformation. What started as a relatively niche format built around RSS feeds and downloadable audio files has grown into one of the most influential media ecosystems in the world. Podcasts have moved from a hobbyist medium to a major channel for culture, conversation, advertising, and storytelling. Today, millions of people listen to podcasts every single day. They listen while commuting, exercising, cooking dinner, cleaning their homes, walking their dogs, or doing everyday tasks that previously had no dedicated media experience attached to them. That is one of the reasons podcasts have grown so quickly. They don't compete with traditional media in the same way television or streaming platforms do. Instead, they fill moments of time that would otherwise be empty. Because of that, podcasts have become one of the most powerful attention platforms available. Attention is one of the most valuable currencies in modern media. Every platform is fighting for it. Social media platforms fight for seconds. Streaming services fight for hours. News outlets fight for daily visits. But podcasts often capture something different. They capture long-form attention. Podcast listeners regularly spend 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or even several hours listening to a single episode. That level of sustained engagement is rare in today's fragmented media landscape. Another reason podcasts have grown so rapidly is the sense of connection they create between hosts and audiences. Podcast listeners often feel like they know the host personally. The conversational format, the long-form discussions, and the consistency of weekly episodes create a sense of familiarity that traditional media formats struggle to replicate. Over time, audiences begin to trust the voices they listen to. That trust has made podcasts one of the most effective advertising channels available today. Unlike traditional commercials that interrupt the content, podcast advertising is often integrated into the conversation. Host-read advertisements feel more like recommendations than ads. When a podcast host talks about a product or service they use, audiences often perceive that message differently than a traditional ad read. Because of this, podcast advertising has grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Brands across categories, from technology and finance to health, retail, and consumer products, have invested heavily in podcast sponsorships. But the podcast industry is not standing still. Over the past several years, one of the biggest changes in podcasting has been the rise of video podcasts. Originally, podcasts were almost entirely audio-based. Distribution happened through platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcast apps that delivered episodes through RSS feeds. But as audiences began consuming more video content online, many podcast creators started filming their recordings. What began as simple camera setups quickly evolved into full video productions. Today, many of the largest podcasts operate more like television studios than traditional audio recordings. Multiple camera angles, professional lighting, studio sets, and live audience recordings have become common. This shift toward video created a new distribution channel for podcasts: YouTube. YouTube has quietly become one of the most important platforms for podcast consumption in the world. Many people who watch podcasts on YouTube may not even think of themselves as podcast listeners. They simply see long-form conversations between interesting personalities. But those videos are fundamentally podcasts. YouTube provides something that traditional podcast platforms historically lacked: community interaction. Under every podcast episode posted on YouTube is a comment section where viewers can respond to the conversation, debate ideas, react to specific moments, and connect with other fans. These comment sections have become communities of their own. Fans analyze discussions, post timestamps of memorable quotes, share their own experiences related to the topics being discussed, and sometimes even influence future episodes through feedback. For creators, this feedback loop is incredibly valuable. They can see in real time how audiences react to different segments of an episode. They can understand which topics resonate most strongly and which conversations generate the most engagement. But the media landscape continues to evolve. Streaming platforms, particularly Netflix, are beginning to experiment with content formats that resemble podcasts. Talk shows, interviews, roundtable discussions, and personality-driven content are becoming more common across streaming platforms. If creators begin partnering with streaming platforms like Netflix to produce podcast-style shows, it could reshape how audiences discover and consume this type of content. This shift also raises important questions. One of the most interesting questions involves community. As mentioned earlier, YouTube has played a major role in building community around podcasts. If podcast-style content moves to streaming platforms like Netflix, that interaction layer may disappear. Netflix does not currently offer comment sections or community discussions under its shows. Viewers watch the content, but they do not engage with it in the same way. Without comment sections, creators lose an immediate feedback loop. Audiences lose a place to continue the conversation. At the same time, streaming platforms offer advantages. They provide global distribution, high production quality, and access to larger budgets. Podcast-style shows on streaming platforms could evolve into something closer to premium television. Creators could gain access to resources that were previously unavailable in the traditional podcast world. For advertisers, these changes could reshape the marketplace. Podcast advertising is already a multi-billion-dollar industry. But when podcast-style content begins to live across YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and streaming platforms like Netflix, the entire ecosystem becomes more interconnected. Instead of competing channels, these platforms begin forming a broader creator economy. Creators will become media networks of their own, and the lines between podcasts, talk shows, and streaming content will continue to blur. The result is a media landscape where attention flows across platforms rather than living in one place. The podcast space isn't slowing down. It's expanding into something much bigger. And the companies that understand how these ecosystems connect will be the ones shaping the future of media.